Welcome back, and we are going in depth on the Cyclosporiasis outbreak to help you make informed choices about what you and your family are eating until this outbreak is over. Dr. Kara Dreyhoft is an epidemiologist with DC Health. And Kara, it's been a long week, but we're glad that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think the number one question people want to know about is, when do we think this outbreak is going to be over? And do you even have a sight line for it at this point?
I think that's a hard question to answer. With cyclosporiasis, the incubation period or the time from exposure to symptoms can be up to 2 weeks. So it can be hard to pin down what people ate and when, and it means that we can see sicknesses continuing 2 weeks past what the time that somebody ate something that was contaminated. So right now we really don't know. I know that FDA and state health departments and CDC are working their hardest to figure out what the contaminated products are and to make sure that those products aren't being distributed.
We'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. We've reported Maryland has 70 cases, Virginia has 11 cases, the district has 11 cases too. But there is something different about those cases. Tell us a bit more about what you've learned.
Yes, so cyclosporiasis is a reportable disease in the district. So each year we do get reports of this condition in the district. It's not unusual of us to have these cases in the district. This year, typical with most years, most of these cases are associated with international travel. So that's what we're primarily seeing. So right now we don't have any signals that are telling us, we're seeing an outbreak or we're seeing a cluster of this disease in the district and we need to panic. Right now we're seeing a little more cases than we usually see, but nothing that's pointing to the contamination of products being sold in the district.
So one of the things that's so fascinating about this, and you talked about how long it can take to incubate and actually show symptoms, is it also hard because people may not be able to distinguish initially whether this is just a regular stomach bug or something else?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it has diarrhea, it has other more non-specific symptoms, stomach aches, fatigue, fever, things that people may or may not seek healthcare for. So if people aren't seeking healthcare for this and they don't get that test that tells them, hey, this is what I'm infected with, then your state and local health departments don't know. You're not included in that count, and the information that you may be able to provide on what you ate and what you were exposed to isn't available to us when we're doing our investigations.
It sounds like what you're saying is there may even be more cases across the country than we know about for that reason.
That's certainly possible. That's certainly possible.
So I was telling you that I feel like I have produce paralysis. Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know. Should I? Should I not? Should I? Should I not? I miss salad. What do you do if you're that person and you really want fruits and vegetables, but you're just not sure what to do?
Of course, everybody has to make the choice of what they're most comfortable with and what they eat on a day-to-day basis. Here in the district, we don't have any evidence that any of our produce is contaminated. We're making the recommendation that right now, just like always, you should properly wash your fruits and vegetables and other produce. So running it under water, giving it a gentle rub. For those hard fruits and vegetables, cucumbers, squash, scrubbing it with a produce brush, that does reduce your risk. But at the end of the day, it's up to you what you're eating and what you're comfortable with. I'm still eating some produce here in the district. That's a choice that I'm making based on the information that I have now. But of course, that information is changing, and we'll let residents know as soon as possible if we learn anything new.
So you're brushing your fruit literally with a fruit brush before you eat it. Are you peeling as well?
Sometimes, depends on the fruit.
And you're eating cooked vegetables as well, I would presume.
Yes. So washing and scrubbing produce is a way to reduce your risk, but it doesn't reduce it entirely. It doesn't necessarily kill the parasite. Rather, it's a mechanism to rinse the parasite off of what you're eating. So that's not always 100% effective. What is effective is heat. So anytime that you can cook your vegetables at least to 158 degrees Fahrenheit, that will kill the parasite. So that is the most effective way to ensure that you're not eating any contaminated produce.
All right, we made a little trip to the grocery store before you came, Dr. Kara. And so I got a few questions for you because we did find some Taylor Farms shredded iceberg lettuce being sold Is this, if someone goes into a grocery store and they're looking at a Taylor Farms bag of shredded iceberg lettuce, is this a yes or no in your mind?
Interesting question. We have to use the information that we have now. FDA is still investigating. Right now, they've let us know that shredded iceberg lettuce that was distributed to Taco Bell in those 5 states has been implicated in this investigation. So we don't have any reason to believe at this point that any other products from this distributor or other distributors are contaminated at this time.
So if this is still in stores, are we saying that there's a chance that this is actually safe to consume? I'm looking at the back. I can't tell where it was produced other than the fact that it's based in California. So you don't actually really know. And so if you're looking at this, is that again a gut call about whether you think it's right to eat it or not?
It's a gut call. It's up to you. Right now, what we've learned so far from the outbreak and the information that other states have gathered is that the implicated product was distributed at the Taco Bell in those states. So if you're buying here in the district, we don't have evidence to think that that product is making it here yet. If it's something that you're just not comfortable with at all, then certainly you don't have to consume it. But right now, based on what we know, there is no reason to suspect that it's contaminated here.
And we should say that Taylor Farms has said that none of their packaged salads have been implicated in this that are in stores. But here's another question, because there are a couple of alternate farms and a couple brands, Little Leaf Farms in particular, and Gotham Greens, which grow their lettuces in hydroponic greenhouses. They have said that because of the way they grow their lettuce, that these products are not impacted at all by this current parasite outbreak. As an epidemiologist, do you have that level of confidence in products like this to say that they don't have any concerns for you?
I would certainly not say that it's impossible. Typically, if it's a smaller farm or a local farm, it could be lower risk, but I would never say that it's impossible that it could get contaminated with this parasite.
And what about your farmers markets? People may be discovering farmers markets in their neighborhoods, in their communities. What is your risk by purchasing produce that's locally grown?
Similar, it's a little bit of lower risk, not completely no risk at all, but lower risk than maybe something that you're seeing from larger locations or imported at your grocery store. So local farms, backyard gardening is a really great way to go right now.
If we're in this environment where we just aren't sure, the incubation point is different for this particular parasite. Does it make sense for us to kind of keep a little food log over the next few weeks or so if we are eating out or if we're making different food decisions, because so much of this is traced back to what you maybe ate weeks ago as opposed to what you ate the day before?
Yes, that would be a great idea, and that would be so appreciated by some of our staff who do this work on the back end, trying to ask people what they ate. And as you just alluded to, it can be really hard to remember, what did I eat? Not just 14 days ago, 3 days ago even. It's hard to remember. So we do, have people reference their calendars, have people reference their credit card statements, try to put the pieces together, but proactively keeping a food log would be a really great idea.
And if you think that you are symptomatic, when is the point where you need to reach out to a doctor or a healthcare professional?
Of course, it's up to you how you're feeling and when you feel like that's the right time for you to go and seek care. What we would recommend is if you have diarrhea that is ongoing more than a day, more than 2 days, it's not getting better and you're feeling really unwell, that's a good time to seek care. But it really depends on, who you are, what you're comfortable with, and any underlying health conditions.
Dr. Kara Drehoff, thank you so much for coming here today and helping us understand tactically how to make good decisions and hopefully how to stay healthy and safe.
Of course, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, so we'll be right back in just a moment.